brother come and ask me about investing in SPUS, HLAL. And for those of you who don't know what those are, these are two ETFs that basically track the S&P 500, but are screened to make sure that all the investments inside are taken care of in a halal way. So this is a good thing. The fact that he's looking into doing his investing in a halal way, I'm happy about that. However, he was asking about whether or not he should invest in these products inside the tax-free saving account. And before he or anybody goes ahead and invests in either of these ETFs, you need to understand that we have a tax treaty with the United States. And WAHED, HLAL, WAHED's ETF, and SPUS, Sharia Portfolios ETF, are both American ETFs. What does that matter? Well, with the United States, we have this tax treaty, right? And so any American ETF can be held inside our RRSPs without any tax issues. However, inside the tax-free saving account, the same rule does not apply. So with WAHED's halal ETF, with Sharia Portfolios halal ETF, what can happen is if there are any dividends that are paid out into the tax-free saving account, the US, the IRS in the United States can withhold 15% tax on any distributions, right? Now, from what I have seen, both WAHED's halal ETF and Sharia Portfolios halal ETF pay very little in the way of distributions. They pay some, but most of the growth that comes from those investments comes from capital appreciation, meaning, okay, today it's worth $10, and then a year from now it's worth $15 a share, something like that, right? So most of their growth comes from that, but there are some dividends that are paid out. And so if you're holding these inside the tax-free saving account, it can impact your growth a little bit because some of that growth is getting taxed. So the best alternative would be to find a Canadian version of these ETFs and hold those inside your tax-free saving account so that you don't have to deal with any of those tax issues. Now, it could be that these tax issues are minor, and both the WAHED halal ETF and Sharia Portfolios halal ETF make enough returns to make it even more worthwhile, despite this hidden tax issue. But it could very well be that if you factor in this tax issue along with the growth, it actually underperforms some of its Canadian counterparts. So it's worth doing an analysis on what's actually happening to make sure that you aren't paying too much tax. The other issue that could come up as well by investing in these is obviously the currency exchange, right? I believe, we're at 60 cents to the, a Canadian dollar is worth like 70 cents US, something like that. So that's also going to impact your investing as well. So overall, I'm not saying not to invest in SPUS. I'm not saying not to invest in WAHED's ETF. If you're investing in a halal way, that is a good start. But if you can find a halal alternative that doesn't contain these potential tax issues, this is definitely something worth looking into and something worth exploring. And of course, Manzil, we have a couple halal portfolios that can very well rival it. And there are some other halal funds in Canada, like the Global Bond Fund, that could rival it as well, without you having to worry about these tax issues or currency conversion and things like that. Now, the other thing this brother mentioned was, if I wanted to buy these American ETFs, what would be the best platform to do it? There are a lot of great low-cost platforms for you to do this. Questrade is fantastic. There is Simple Trade, although I've heard that it can be pretty expensive to buy American ETFs on that platform. Interactive Brokers, these are all options for you to do it at low cost. What I will say, and of course I'm biased, make sure you understand what you're buying, why you're buying it, and all those ins and outs, right? A lot of people just look at it, it's halal, it's seen some growth, maybe I should just go ahead and invest in it. And you know what? I always say doing something is better than doing nothing, right? Getting started, and then kind of course correcting and making adjustments as you go. I think that's a great strategy and a great way to go about doing things, right? That being said, talking to an advisor, again, biased, right? Talking to somebody who actually, eats, sleeps, and breathes this stuff can stop you from making some of those mistakes, and will make you aware of these little things and these little details that you wouldn't otherwise pay attention to. So I hope this helps, and if you have any other questions, comment them below. I'm going to try to get to them. As well, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like and subscribe button, helps with the algorithm, helps grow the channel. Give a follow, all of these things. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.